fatigue in the cockpit. Airbus Industrie Flight 129 was a test flight from Toulouse Airport in France, testing the newly released A330. The aircraft had only flown for 259 days and was owned by Thai Airways. The aircraft was registered as FWWKH. On board were 3 crew members and 4 passengers. The 4 passengers were invited since Airbus deemed the test to be safe. The passengers included 2 Alitalia pilots named Alberto Nassetti and Pier Paolo Ricchetti, and 2 Airbus executives named Philippe Turner and Keith House. In the cockpit was Airbus chief test pilot Nick Warner, an Air Inter trainee named Michael Kay, and the flight test engineer Jean-Pierre Petit. The captain was the most experienced, but exact flight hours were not given to the public. The test flight today was simulating engine and hydraulic failures after takeoff, with the autopilot flying. On the first attempt, the crew descended from 10,000 feet down to 2,000 feet by setting the autopilot to go to 2,000 feet. The plane did 2 test go-arounds with engine losses and then landed. However, there were a few problems on the second takeoff. The plane this time had its center of gravity in the extreme aft position, which meant all the aircraft's weight was at the back of the aircraft. Also, the pilot set the trim to 2.2 degrees, which helped the plane pitch up. The pilots did not change the autopilot altitude capture mode from 2,000 feet, so it stayed. Lastly, the captain was fatigued since he had an A321 demonstration flight, a supervision of a flight simulator session, a meeting, and a press briefing. All of these would piece together to doom the plane and its occupants. During the takeoff rolls, the engines were put to toga, which would also prove deadly. The plane lifted off, and the autopilot changed modes from the SRS mode, which was the mode which would try keep the speed, to altitude requisition mode, which meant the autopilot would try climb to a certain altitude. It switched modes because the autopilot had a target altitude, which was 2,000 feet, and the vertical speed of the aircraft was perfect. The captain switched the left engine off and the hydraulics off, and the autopilot pitched up 28 to 32 degrees erratically to try to get to 2,000 feet. The plane started to get dangerously close to a stall, and due to the power imbalance between the 2 engines, the plane also started banking left. The fatigued captain reacted slowly to put the engines to the same power. The plane dived in a left bank of 112 degrees and a pitch angle of minus 43 degrees. The plane crashed shortly after takeoff with a pitch angle of minus 15 degrees, despite the crew's efforts to save the aircraft. No one on board survived. The cause of this accident was found to be pilot error on multiple accounts, including putting the center of gravity on the extreme aft position, trimming the aircraft to 2.2 degrees, selecting toga for takeoff, and not deselecting the altitude on autopilot. Another factor was pilot fatigue. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.